Hello and welcome to PaxAriaGaming. This is Reg with, I guess you can call it episode 22. I'm probably going to start changing the nomenclature a little bit. So this will be bonus episode 1 since we've completed the game, and you saw that in the last episode. As promised, I will continue playing until I get the true ending. So the frequency of these uploads might be a little bit different since the series is done. And I'm continuing to explore the game. So there may be times when I do something really interesting and think, oh, okay, maybe I should record this. Or there's an interesting quest that pops up. In one of the upcoming bonus videos, I'll show you my stats and where I am in terms of progression into some of the other challenges. But in this episode, we're just really doing a bunch of side quests. And this is a shorter one. I did say, and I am going to do this, I will probably, the next 2 bonus episodes will be me playing as Unka once for that entire episode, and then me playing as Damien once for that entire episode. Assuming they have any quests left. I'm not quite sure whether they do or not. And what else will I do? I probably won't show me doing the Abyss Nexus stuff until I get to the final one, until I get to number 40. Maybe they'll show some accomplishment or some special accomplishment when I get to that point. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're sort of hopping all over the map, doing some extra kinds of things, fighting bandits and stuff like that. So we're heading to Rockshard Valley, but along the way we're going to come across Sandshift Village. And in both cases, we're going to clear those areas. And by the way, this episode is the only one that takes place before the actual end of the game. I recorded it. It seemed out of place to put it in with the last episode. It would have simply added an hour before we actually got to the final chapter, and I didn't want to do that. So this takes place before those events. So yes, Kliff is still young Kliff. Other than that, you won't notice much of a difference because I don't think we're going to be interacting with any of the other main characters in the game. Let's call out who hasn't been here in a while. Sunder, it's been a while, buddy. And this is I'm probably not going to get a whole lot of other pets. One of the complaints that people have is that all these pets end up in Kliff's little house on the other side of the ravine. And apparently people find that annoying. So with me, I don't mind because I only have 4 dogs. So they bark a lot. Other than that, they're fine. And as you can see, at this stage of the game, Kliff is able to just melt through these little bandit camps. They still trash talk even as they're getting mowed down, but let them trash talk. While Sunder is in the middle of the mix, picking up any little scraps he can find. Okay, so I finally got the Watcher to start working right, although I see a lot of complaints that they don't always work when you do the L2 R2 thing. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And I find that to be true. It seems to be working more consistently now. And I know there's another helmet that I wear that also uses L1 L2 R2. And so I'm not quite sure why they would set it up in a way that two of the same things could be used for two items that you have equipped. And apparently the helmet sort of supersedes my watcher pack when I have that particular helmet on. I couldn't figure out, why is Kliff blowing icy air at people when I'm trying to get the watcher pack out? So the solution is, of course, you just switch that helmet out. At this point in the game, I'm not... I think it gave me health every 2 seconds or something like that. And to be honest with you guys, at this point in the game, I haven't needed to eat a lot during my battles. The exception might be boss battles. These little camps, you don't need to consume anything. That wasn't always true for me. Early in the game, you know, you had to avoid being overwhelmed and all those kinds of things. Okay, buddy, I'm gonna rescue you. Just chill out for a second. So we're likely going to meet this challenge of unlocking locked doors. If I'd gotten that challenge earlier, I would have already met that requirement because I have a million keys. I don't know where I got them all from. I guess I'm just picking them up as I'm fighting bandits. And they come in handy for things like this. So you should never have to buy a key in this game. Alright. There you go. Fly away, young one. Fly away. You too,
I owe you a great debt.
So I haven't gotten all of the contributions to 100. Hernandez 100. I can't remember, a couple other ones are as well, but not all of them. So, you know, I will say that not at this point, because I'm beyond this point. Remember, this takes place before the last episode, the previous episode. And I've played since then. I've been playing every night since then. And I've gotten to a point where, you know, unless you go out to Varnia, where there's still a bunch of random enemy camps and stuff like that, you pretty much clear it out. If you're like me and you've been all over the map, in Hernand and you know, the area closest around Hernand, so parts of Halon, parts of Delicia, there's not a lot of enemies left for you to fight. I know I haven't defeated every single boss in the game because there is a way to track that. So in, let's see, in Delicia, I've defeated every boss. In Hernand, there's still 2, and they must be tied to one of the other quests that I haven't done in that area yet. I think in Crimson Desert, I've done them all as well. I guess maybe Hernand is the biggest one, and the ones that are most tied to one of the quests from one of those great houses, you know, like Lord whoever. And some of that may be tied to, you know, you capturing an outlaw. I mean, it's amazing how they sort of twist these together and how they tie them in, but it's not always clear what you should do in order to trigger that. And I guess the developers don't intend it to be. I think they want you to fully explore. Now I'm at a point where I'm probably going to look at that online map of Crimson Desert
I owe you
to figure out
debt.
if I'm missing any caves and things like that. If I'm missing any, they're probably out in the Varnia area. I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any in Hernand. I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any in
I owe you a great debt.
in Demonis, but I can't be sure. I've done all the spires. There's not a lot of them, so it's a little bit easy to do. couple of them are tied to quests. The other ones are not, so you can just do them whenever you want to. The spires are always connected to some abyss thing that you have to do. And what I've found, this is the Rockshard Valley one. We're going to take these bandits on next. If I had thought about it, when I'm up doing the Nexus things, I should just stay out there and keep doing them. The ones tied to quests usually give you something else you need to do. But the other ones, you can just keep going. And I guess I didn't figure that out early. Otherwise, I probably would have done more than the minimum when I was doing these. So the next time I'm up there, I'm just going to continue. I should have, I tried to the last time I was up there and fell to my, not my death. I ended up floating down, and I couldn't get back up. And I figured, okay, this is going to be a frustrating one. But I will get them all done. And Neo 3 will likely be the next game I play, and I probably won't start that until the second week of July. Now, I say that assuming that I will finish everything about this game by then, and so I guess I'm giving myself a bit of a timeline in terms of getting all of my objectives done in this game. And that's not true, because 1 week of that is me traveling. So for that period, I'll probably have 2 or 3 videos already uploaded and just release them on the normal schedule that I've been following, the Tuesday, Friday schedule. So if I can get everything done before I leave, that's great. If I don't, then I will continue the journey when I get back. But my hope is that by the second week of July, I will be starting Neo 3. Unless I'm convinced that there's something else that that I should be playing that will, that I'll be excited about. And something that's not as long as this game or the previous game I played. So for some reason, the last few games I played have all been very long. This sort of breaks the record. This is probably, I probably spent more hours on this game. No, I probably spent about the same number of hours on this game as I did on Elden Ring. And this is Elden Ring before the Erdtree thing. Because I was being every bit the completionist I usually am with Elden Ring. With this game, there's certain things I just am not interested in. Some of the challenges I'm just not interested in. I don't want to play rock, paper, scissors with those little kids. I only arm wrestled if it's part of the quest. I did that. The gambling thing, oh my god, I was horrible at it. It took me forever to win those 3 games just to progress the quest line. So I'm never playing that again. So there's certain things that is just not going to happen. Yeah, that's because I didn't see the lever over here. To my left, there's a lever. So, ouch. And Kliff, you gotta go. The lever's on the other side. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't have the dog with me. He would probably walk right through the fire. So one of the things I need to figure out is whether there are Damien-specific quests left in the game or Unka-specific quests remaining in the game. I don't know whether there is. I played as them when I had to as part of the story. but my suspicion is that there are particular quests that are for them. So I need to look that up, figure that out. So when I play as both of those characters, I'm not just wandering around doing the same thing that Kliff would have done. I'm only promising one episode each of them. I'm not, you know, I think it's a struggle for me to get used to using a whole bunch of new weapons and move sets and all those kinds of things. And I'm like, I am totally committed to Kliff. And we need to continue. How's that? Okay. We need to continue maxing our camp. I think the next step for the camp is to build a ranch. That may be the last step. But we have a farm. We have the wagoneer person. We have the armorer. We have the blacksmith. We have. I think we have everyone. We don't have a barber. I think there's a way to get one. But remember, you can't really move your camp until you complete all of the Grey Mane quests. And there are 3 categories of those Grey Mane quests. There's the Grey Mane commissions, which I think is the last one. There's the I can't remember the other 2, but there are 3 different categories of them. And as of today, not as of this recording, but as of today in real time, I've completed all of the first category. If that's true, you know, sometimes you see stuff and then you realize, oh, you didn't have to do all of that. Pummeled by what? Fire? Where did fire come from? So again, I'll have to look that up. One thing I will say about this game is that it's been a long time since I've thought that the game or a game actually needed a guide, because the developers have done a pretty good job leading you, and if you're reading through the journal and doing those kinds of things, it gives you some more insight as to what you should be doing. But this game is a little different because of I'm not always seeing the connection between what they want you to do and how they lead you there in this game. There may be some people who figure that out. I definitely, you know, will spend 3 hours trying to figure something out and then realize, just look it up. Only to discover that I was never going to figure that out on my own. And that's rare for me in games. Years ago, I used guides because, I don't know, that was all, what you did. Mainly because it was these Soulsborne games, and they're very long, with multiple branching quests. The other one I used a guide for was the very first Dragon Age, and I think I used one for Skyrim. And I was okay using them. I mean, they were very, very helpful. I mean, I try to, you know, sort of be a part of each class in Skyrim. I think I played that game multiple times too. So in this game, I gotten away from guides, but realized that, yeah, this is one that I don't know that it changes whether you enjoy it or not if you don't have a guide, but I think you will definitely miss a lot. There's no way that you can't if you don't have a guide. I don't see how some of the stuff you'd ever figure out. You know, some of the Abyss Nexus puzzles are easy and some are damn near impossible. The bosses are fine except for the gimmick bosses, where you're fighting the boss like a regular boss, and it turns out that boss has a gimmick, and unless you use the gimmick, you're not going to defeat that boss. You know, but as I said in the previous video, I love this game. You know, I love a challenge. The puzzles in this game are probably a little bit more difficult than the puzzles in the God of War games. Mainly because the God of War puzzles are shorter. In this game, you might have Scream from the Desert. I think this is probably going to lead to a boss. Um, the problem with this game is that the puzzles, the chain for the puzzles are just incredibly long. I mean, literally the entire video. If you're recording one of the Nexus things, that could be your whole video. That could be the entire video because you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'll do this, that, and the other, and then you go to the next node, only to discover that's not the end. There's another node, and you do that, and it just goes on forever and ever and ever. All of them aren't that long, but there are some that are incredibly long. You know, chasing down Gabriel Caliburn, one of the last bosses, was incredibly frustrating. I mean, it's like you truly chase him across the galaxy. A little bit like Crowcaller. He was another one you had to just chase all over the place. But it's interesting because not all of those Abyss areas have bosses. You know, some do, some don't. The ones that don't, it's just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle. The one that do, sometimes there are puzzles leading to, like the whole pagoda thing was, I liked. It was fun. It was different. It was different, but it was fun. Speaking of the pagoda, I wonder whatever happened to the two witch sisters. We helped them. Well, yeah, we helped them, and they helped us. But I don't recall saying goodbye to them, or that I'll never see you again. Okay, so Sandfang sounds like it must be some kind of desert wolf. The other thing I have to do, this reminds me, is I need to take the fang that I got from one of the other wolves that I killed to one of the witches, because I think that will end up being a legendary animal for me. Right now, my stats is only showing that I have one legendary animal, but I know I've defeated like 4 of them already. I just haven't gone back to the witches to do what I need to do. Wow, they're swarming me. Okay, and he has multiple health. Well, I guess it's just like the other one. You get rid of his minions. So you get rid of them, and then you fight him, get rid of his first health bar. Then he disappears, and you do it all over again. Now, when I fought the guy where I got the Alpine... Alright, stop doing that. I'm just skinning the thing, it's already dead. Where I got the Alpine Ibex thingy, if you just waited in the same spot you were in, the guy on the Ibex just made a loop, and he'll eventually come back. Now, it could take 10 minutes, but he will eventually pass back through this area. The problem I have is if you do this, right, and you follow the trail, it could very well be that he's ahead of you or he's behind you. And so you're following a trail, and you may never catch him because let's say you're traveling at the same pace and you're on opposite ends of the map following this loop. You'll always be halfway across the map from him, or halfway across the loop. So the first time I figured, okay, just wait in this spot. Eventually he'll make his way around. The same thing with the big tree guy in Paroran. It was a similar kind of a thing. The first time I was following him, I could never find the guy, and I could never find him because he was always ahead of me or behind me, and I was simply following the trail. In this particular case, it's the same thing. Kliff's doing a little jog because I'm hoping that we can catch up to him. And the red dot will not show on the map until he's pretty close. The other thing I haven't done is I haven't done the wyvern egg quests. And I'm probably not going to, because, you know, Black Star is fine. Between the horses and Black Star, I can get places. I did take out the flying metal pterodactyl looking flying fortress thing. I didn't record it because I didn't know that I was going to do it. But there are two ways to get to that flying fortress. One is you can go up to one of the Abyss Nexus and just jump down. And the other is you use Black Star to fly up, which is what I did. I used Black Star to take out the support ships that were around it. Then you have to climb onto the back of that thing and disable the little yellow glowing things. Once you disable all of them, while turrets are shooting at you, you should destroy the turrets too. But once you do that, a hatch will open, then you go inside and you take out the final one of those glowing thingies. It's the same kind of things that you saw in the Flying Fortress, the floating one that we had to destroy. This is similar to that. So you would do that, hatch would open, there'd be a big one inside, you would destroy that, and that then takes down the Flying Pterodactyl. It's not called Flying Pterodactyl. I think it's Ren X something something. So I guess I was gonna say, I guess when I'm playing, since I play, I should just record every session I play, and if I find something useful, then just splice it together with anything useful that I find. That way I'm not missing content like that. I hated that I missed it. I was like, man, that would have been good to show, but I wasn't recording. So maybe I'll figure it out. You'll know by the next video, unless I'm playing as Damien or Unka. Yeah, see, this is the pain in the neck about tracking these guys. This is in a desert storm. One was in fog.
Crimson sands will be your grave.
All right. Not too shabby. That didn't take very long. Yes, I have another little fang thingy to take to the witch. Oh, we have to deliver the news. We'll do that. My cash cow contributions is going up. I still have a little bit of research to do in this recording, but by the time you see this, I will have completed all of the research. I did figure out how to trigger the ones that seem to be missing. It's not research, but in Scalastone, it kept telling me that you've done like something like 16 out of 20, and I'm like, well, there's nothing left to do there. There is. You need to go, and there's another quest you do before that. I can't remember what that quest was, but you get a helmet that shows you the constellations. And I believe there are 13 of them that you have to find to complete that quest. They're all over the map. I did 3 of them because they were all relatively close. Actually, the 3 that I did were given to me as quests, so that's how I found them. I don't know where the other ones are, and I'm not sure how to trigger them yet. But that may be something that I try to do as well. Once you find them, it's easy, but you have to have the constellation helmet in order to do that. You have to go to Scalastone to get it. So the game gives you a lot of stuff to do. No one seems to know when the DLC is coming. If I had to take a guess, I would guess that the DLC is probably spring, late spring of 2027, like a year after the launch of this one. They're still doing. There's a little cave. They're still doing updates almost weekly, which is great. Unless there's a separate team working on the DLC, and that may very well be the case. But my suspicion is if the DLC was going to be anytime soon, there would be a release date. And so I can guess that it's not going to be anytime this summer. And probably won't be competing with the fall releases either. So, but hopefully, by late fall, or at least just sometime before the end of the calendar year, we'll get a sense as to when the DLC is coming out. Because I will definitely be playing it, even if it's one of those paid expansion things. Perlibus has done an incredible job. Yes, there were flaws with the game. This wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we were incredibly ambitious in terms of making this open world game probably one of the best open world experiences anyone would have. They give you a lot to do. The environments are all very different. The map looks beautiful from 30,000 feet up, or however high the Nexus, Abyss Nexus points are. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's like if you look out of a window when you're on an airplane, you're looking down at the Grand Canyon, or you're looking down at the Rocky Mountains, or something like that. It's like that. Actually, it may be even higher than that. Now that I think about it, I think about when I'm looking out of the window. Look at the mountains in the background. We're in the Crimson Desert, and you can see the mountains, snow-covered mountains in the background, which is amazing. So that attention to detail, to me, is just really nice. So visually, it's an incredible game. I still think Sekiro is, at least because of the vivid colors in that game, and even Ghost of Tsushima. It was different. So I guess I don't want to compare art styles. And I haven't done a ranking of what games I think are the most beautiful. You know, I've done my favorite games. Elden Ring is still at the top of that. Crimson Desert is now on the list as well. It made it into my top 20. So you mean it's not number 3 or 4? Well, my list is
seen a trace of those bandits
Elden
lately.
Ring, Black Myth.
Was it you who took care of them?
Red Dead Redemption. So
Well,
yeah, it's
seriously,
hard
the ones
for
riding those giant
for
wolves.
Crimson
There's
Desert
no
to get
need
into
to
the top
worry.
5 or
My
10.
word.
It really is.
My patience has brought me to the oasis. We're finally free from those bandits.
I think
Thank the ancestors.
ended
I
up
was about
dropping.
to give up on everything.
It ended up
May a
dropping
teamer guide
Destiny,
your
the first
footsteps.
Destiny, out of my top 20. All right, let me stop talking about this other stuff. All right, so we got a camel now. So for helping this guy, we get this camel, the Sandwalk camel. I guess you can use him anywhere, but it seems more appropriate to use him in the desert. Unfortunately, you know, I came here with my own horse, so I don't really need a camel right now. But since the guy did gift me a camel, I guess I should take it. May as well do this while I'm here. I don't think I'm going to need a buff. I don't think there's another boss we're going to deal with in this area. The one thing that I still have a lot of to do that I've sort of not been looking forward to are the bounty quests. I mean, it would be so much easier if they just let you fast travel with the bounty. But instead, here's my camel. Instead, you have to capture the bounty. That's easy. And then, all right, horsey, I'll see you when I see you. Hate to leave you here. So yeah, I just... You know, some of them I guess are short distances, but others are like... And then sometimes there are bandits out there. You have to, especially in this area, you end up having to run past, which is okay. I mean, the horse I have now doesn't ever run out of stamina. It's a legendary horse. I'm assuming the camel, because it's a desert animal, would be fine. And we're making our way over here because there's a cave that we want to investigate. Sorry, camel. It was a very short ride, buddy. Okay, we found, looks like gold ore. Okay, they changed the animation, so he doesn't throw the animals down as hard as he did, but still, that wasn't all that gentle. But originally, you know, when Kliff would capture something, he would just sort of throw it to the ground, you know, like just almost with disdain. Okay, so was there no gold in this tunnel? It looks like it's just a pass through. Oh, it's telling me the cave is complete. That's interesting. All right, let's check out the other area that had the little question mark thingy. I don't know what was causing that. One of the little animals bit me or something? Because there were no traps. So I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so we don't want to go either way, so we'll just have to climb out of here to where the camel was. At least you can climb. And there was one cave like this I went into that took me forever to get out of. There were vines all over the place, which made it very difficult to climb. All right. All right. We're going to go to this confectionery. The Gearmelt Confectionary. We're going to liberate that. And what do you want to bet that the reward you get for doing that is some kind of confectionery pack, which would be weird because I'm not sure what you would ever use it for. And again, I don't have this game set to repopulate areas that we've already completed. Because then I would never finish this game. And it's really hard for me to run past anything that's red, and when I know that that's where the enemies are. Now, I say that, but I could change my mind. There's nothing for Damien or Unka to do. If there's nothing for them to do, then I might have to switch that just to sort of make sure I get some content with them using their new armor. Unka using the jetpack that I had made for him. I know there is a quest for a particular sword for Damien. Unless I've already done it. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. Okay. So this is the confectionery. Oh, there we go. I was going to say I haven't seen that thing pop up. So this is one of those things we need to clear. And once we clear it, chances are we're going to have to repair the factory. That's typically the way these work. So first things first, because if you don't clear it, I'm assuming these enemies will not let you go through the 27 steps you're probably going to have to go through to restart this. And so through the magic of editing, I will move this along so that you won't have to experience the full 2.5 hours it took me to do this. As much as I love the ice, the frost, fire works just as well. Fire turns them into a puff of ash. The ice turns them into ice and then they shatter. I still haven't gotten the lightning or electricity one, and the wind one. But when I do the Nexus thingies, I'm sure I'll get them because they're up there somewhere. But I did use, what I just did. I did use a lightning spear, and wow, does it really, really melt humanoid enemies. I don't know what it's like for non-humanoids, but man. I'm like, maybe I should have invested in that earlier. I mean, I certainly could have crafted one with the cuckoo blueprint, because I had the blueprint. I've had the blueprint for quite some time. This wasn't one I crafted. This was one I found after fighting another boss. I said, yeah, let me use it. Plus, in using it, you get one of those. You can complete one of those challenges that gets you another Abyss artifact. So if you have those artifacts, or the sealed artifacts, are tied to using a spear, using a single-handed weapon, using a dual. You know, you should do those because it's at this point where I am in the game, it's very easy to do because we're at the end game and none of these guys are going to bother Kliff. The only thing is this uses a lot of spirit, so you're able to get maybe 3 shots before you end up having to refill your spirit. 3 or 4 shots. And by the time you see the next episodes, my spirit will be maxed. I think I'm only 1 or 2 away from maxing that. Health and stamina, I still have a little ways to go. And it's mostly because there aren't anything else that I really want to unlock in terms of skills. I guess I can unlock them all just to say I've unlocked them. So if I've maxed out health, stamina, if I max out health and stamina, since I've already done spirit, then I will use those artifacts for those other skills. Whether I use the skills or not doesn't really matter. At least I'll use them for that. Like, I know there is an axe thing, right? There's an axe challenge. I'm assuming that's Unka's axe challenge. It's really not mine since I don't use an axe. And the same may be true for Damien's weapons, like the guns and stuff like that.
I'll feed you to the dark.
Ouch. Hey, buddy.
Your fear smells sweet.
Your fear smells sweet, really? Okay, so clearing the camp clearly isn't all that difficult. Even though they're bigger enemies. And like always, we scrounge everything we can find. I unsummoned Sunder some time ago. Now I'm questioning whether I should resummon him for scavenger work here. And, you know, these other packs, you know, Kliff doesn't need to use them because he has a Watcher pack and he, you know, all that kind of stuff. But they may come in handy for Damien and for Unka, so you might not want to get rid of all of them. I've been selling all of those things that I get because they're just filling up my inventory. I'm like, okay, well, I don't need 13 of these packs, especially since I don't use them. I use my own Watcher pack. However, I should probably save 5 or 10. Let's say 10 each for Unka and Damien. This should be. I don't know what I would use them for them. Certainly for Damien, I probably wouldn't, because she has she uses firearms, which I think can be deadly, and I know I already have infinite bullets, so I unlocked that during another quest. So it's not like, you know, she's never going to run out of bullets. so glad there is no friendly fire in this game. Because if so, these little guys who spend all of their time saying please and ah, whatever that noise is that they make, would be dead.
I can't thank you enough, friend. No problem.
So I've liberated 544 of these guys. And
Hail, stranger.
your goal, by the way, is an infinity symbol. So it doesn't. There's no special number. Initially, when I started doing that quest and started getting that, I thought, oh, is it 100? I blew past 100. Is it like 200? And I was like, I can't figure out how many of these guys I need to rescue. Then it turns out that it all boiled down to you just keep rescuing them. You get some contribution points, but the number that you can rescue, there's no upper limit. We've been rescuing them all across the map. Okay, so we have now cleared the factory. So now it wants us to restart the chocolate factory. And this is where it becomes a 27 step process. But I promise you, I won't, I'll show you the end result of each step. I won't show you me finding each thing. So this is step 1. Activate the cocoa dispenser. That's step 1. Now step 2 should pop up. Oh no, we're not done. We're not done. We need to actually rotate that device at the bottom. Took me a little while to figure out because it doesn't tell you to do anything else. And so you sort of move around until you see a prompt. And you push that way, nothing happened. So you try the other way. And voila. So we're good there. We should get something telling us that we're done. Yes. And now we move on to activate the roaster. This is similar to a couple of the other factories that we were at. This has always been janky. You're supposed to be able to just jump up and grab that lever and use your body weight to pull it down. So sometimes he catches it, sometimes he doesn't. I'm not quite sure why. It's the same jump I've made multiple other times, and for some reason it's just janky. Anyway, so we've done that. We need to operate the watermill. I mean, this is, to be honest with you, this is not complicated. It's not a puzzle. You're simply following each of the steps along the way, and everything is near, so, you know, it's not like, yeah, that's what I'm telling them. He's giving me that look. So it's not like it's all that difficult to do. It's just that there's so many steps. Like, when is this going to end? So now you have to get to the crusher, which is below this. So you don't have to climb up and jump. You can just stand on this thing and just jump. Yeah. The direction says jump from the platform, but you don't have to jump from the platform. So I'm not quite sure why it tells you. There's a couple of them like that where it tells you to do something, And then you discover that you don't have to do it that way. But that's okay. I mean, I like the fact that there's more than one way to get something done. Like, for instance, if you've unlocked Force Current, you can use Force Current to lock those pieces in place at the Sanctums. You don't have to climb up, jump on it. You know, the Force Current is so much easier. Same thing with those statues in the pagoda area. You just use Force Current. But the game doesn't tell you to use Force Current. Actually, in the pagoda, I think it does, but in the other areas, it doesn't tell you to use Force Current. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky because you actually have to find the lubricant spray. It's not already in your inventory. It's around the corner from this place. I edited that out to just show you us completing this final step. Doesn't tell you how much of the stuff you need, so I'm just spraying everything. I think you only need to spray the part in the middle, but it starts moving, you're good to go. And I believe you'll always have this in your inventory now that you have it. So now we need to activate the chocolate mixer. This is what I mean by it's 27 steps. It's a lot of steps. Yeah, we jumped down here. I was trying to figure out, was there a ladder? How did I get... I thought there was a ladder. Was there a ladder? Okay, we spin this. This is another one of the two-step thingies. You have to raise this lid. And you climb beneath it, and you push against the gear that's down there. Yeah, this is another one of those instructions that's not very intuitive in terms of what it is you're supposed to do. But yeah, you have to climb into this and then push in one direction. After about 10 minutes of trying to figure that out, I figured it out. Because the instructions don't change. It tells you to do this, and you're like, okay, but I thought I did it. Because I raised this little lid thingy. So I guess you have to pay attention to what it is you're looking at. You say, well, this looks like one of those things that I can rotate. Just like the one downstairs at the chocolate mixer thingy. Okay, now we need to activate the cooler. I don't know what that noise is. Sounds like a robot walking. Okay, this is a little different from the other ones. Okay, I guess that's a little drummer there behind us. That's what that noise was. What is that noise? It's that thing that looks like a drummer. Again, not very clear that you're supposed to climb up and do this. camera angle is pretty sucky. Alright, so that's done. Alright. We need to make sure the packaging is working, and then the last step is we pick up our prize, and there it is. A confectionery pack. Which basically is, and as we wrap up, that pack will just give you snacks. Too bad we don't have one of those in real life, but it continually produces snacks for you. And so with that, we're gonna wrap this episode up. So this will be bonus episode 1. We will continue with the bonus episodes. I can't promise they're always going to be Tuesday, Friday, since the game is done, and I'm trying to get to a particular thing to do as to get the true ending. So I don't know how much of an appetite you guys have to see me do mundane things until I can get to that point. Also, and moving the camp. So you will see me move the camp. You will see me play as Damien. You will see me play as Unka. And you will see me unlock the final Nexus gate in order to get the true ending. So thank you guys for joining me. Again, I appreciate you on this journey. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your subscribing. And I appreciate your likes. So thanks a lot. This is Reg with PaxAriaGaming. I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Have a good week, or a good day, or a good life. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.